of just the host, right?
Yes.
So I'm sitting there, I don't think I'm on camera, and then she says MSNBC could have confirmed that Trump has been indicted. And so I'm like, woo-hoo, let's dab. And then I remember, oh no, I'm on camera.
And then your next thought is they're going to use this on Fox News. And then what happened?
Right, and so in my head, I'm like, if they catch me dancing, they're gonna use it on Fox News, be like, angry black man happy that Trump, and of course, Laura Ingraham clips me out and uses me as an example of Democrats celebrating Trump being indicted to prove that like it's all about the politics and the weaponization, which is so unfair because I'm just happy that a known criminal. Has faced charges.
Are you kidding? If Hillary was ever convicted of anything, it would look like Dance Fever on Fox News. Please just shut up over there. Shut up over there. Okay.
They'd have a ticker tape parade in Tallahassee or Little
Ellie,
Rock or wherever.
I was watching when this went down, and this is confirmed that God is a black lesbian because the fact that Joy was in the chair and you were there. I was like, because right at first it was like, oh, Trump says, and he's the biggest liar in the world. So you're like, oh, is it really? It was like the slow speed chase. And then we were like, as you said, NBC News confirms. I'm like, oh my God. So it's happening. What was it? I'm just curious. What were your actual emotions beyond dancing at that moment? Because you've been Veruca saltier than I have about Merrick Garland. So were you shocked? What were you feeling?
I mean, look, my opinion on Merrick Garland remains absolutely unchanged. It's his fault that we have taken this long to get there. He's slow walked this process. He didn't appoint Jack Smith until November of 2022. That's way too late in the game. Like, my opinion on Merrick Garland is not changed. But as I was listening, and more importantly, as I was reading the indictment, I had said, I think I've even said on your show, that I expected Jack Smith to indict Trump for something just to justify Jack Smith's existence, right? It's like, I've made the analogy, like when the cop pulls you over, they're going to give you a ticket for something just to justify pulling you over in the first place, right? But as I read the indictment, I think I was wrong about that because I think that indictment, it's put like this, it's way more than perfunctory, right?
Yeah.
I don't see any punches pulled. I don't see any special treatment given. Like Jack Smith went after Trump with everything that he had in the chamber over this espionage stuff. And so like that, I give it up to Smith. He's done his job.
I have to counterpoint you. Allison Gill, it did, list a fairly significant amount of things that Merrick Garland got done before he brought Jack Smith in. And so I feel like you're right. This indictment was the culmination of that. But also, Ellie, I have to say, even for those of us that marinate in this, I was shocked. I mean, it really is jaw-dropping, isn't it, this indictment? I mean, it just is. I don't even... Well, I loved you said I'm going to be on with Katie Fang to talk about whether it's worse to have classified documents in your bathroom or in a chandelier. I mean, you just can't... You're just reading it going, oh, my God, right?
Is a chandelier scones. Like, what is that? Who has that? Like, that's not... They don't sell that at Home Depot is what I'm trying to tell you. Yes. Anyway... The thing that jumped out on the indictment, besides, Trump's obviously gaudy and terrible tastes, is the fact that Trump blew up his own best legal defense by running his mouth on tape, right?
Yeah.
Because the best legal defense, and Schiff kind of alluded to this in the little clip of him that you played in the open, right? That Trump's best legal defense is that I didn't know they were classified documents. I didn't intend to take classified documents, and I certainly didn't intend to show classified documents to anybody who was not authorized to see them, right? That's his best legal defense.
Right.
And he can't make it because he is on tape talking to a staffer saying, this is confidential. I'm not supposed to show you this. They're not disclassified. I could have declassified it, but now I cannot because I'm not the president anymore. Like, he says it. He gives the intent to the crime. He gives the mens rea. That is the knowledge of a criminal act. He says it on tape, and they got him on that. So his best legal defense is poof, gone. And I didn't expect to see that in the actual evidence, in the actual indictment.
Well, Josh Hawley tweeted, if the people in power can jail their political opponents at will, we don't have a republic. You said, actually, as I pointed out, if people in power can avoid jail by returning to power, we don't have a republic. That's literally how the most famous one died. I mean, this is I think this is what the founders didn't count on, is an entire party that would stand behind this level of criminality. Do you
right?
think?
And they didn't count on an entire, like, half of the American people also standing behind that kind of demagoguery. This is what the
Right.
founders were worried about, because this is what kills republics, right? This is what killed the Roman Republic, right? Caesar makes himself dictator for life because he's running from a lawsuit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as simple as that. He was being sued for unpaid debts, basically, and he didn't want to have to face the music, and so he wanted to keep himself in perpetual political power to avoid the lawsuit. That's essentially what Trump will be running for in
Well,
2024,
this
to cross the Rubicon, to cloak himself in executive power to avoid consequences for
yeah.
his criminal actions.
Well, as you said, you pointed to Joyce Vance's tweet about Judge Cannon. You said, I'm not going to freak out about Cannon just yet for the reasons below, but I will say, as I've been saying, I don't reasonably see why this trial gets done before the next election, which keeps Trump's only real defense, I'm the president again, in play, as you just alluded to. I mean, she could be, of course, overturned again because she'll be ridiculous again, but it'll delay it, right? Which would be the point.
Look, the timeline is borked. This has been my problem for at least a year now. Like, if you think about the practical realities of trying Donald Trump, that's like one bucket, right? If you think about the practical realities of trying the Republican nominee for president months or weeks before the election, that's an entirely different kettle of fish that I just don't think this country has thought through or is prepared to do. Once, the Republican National Convention is July 15th to 18th, 2024.
Yeah.
If he is not tried and convicted before then, and the Republicans do their horrible stuff of crowning him their kind of leader and king once more, it just becomes very difficult to see how you're going to try a major party presidential candidate a few weeks before the election, the general election,
Yeah.
and convict him and put him in jail. I mean, are we all James Comey now? Are we gonna put him in jail in, like, what, September? Like, how does that even
Yeah.
work,
Well,
really, right?
I mean, this is
so the entire point, and his lawyers will say this, right? If they set a trial date that's in the middle of, after the convention, they will get right up to that trial date and then file an emergency motion saying that there are extraordinary circumstances and they need to delay the trial to after the election because of the vagaries of trying to prepare for a weeks-long criminal trial while also running for president. And there will be Republican-appointed judges who agree with that argument, who think that is a good argument. Eileen Cannon might be one of them, but you'll find people on the 11th Circuit that agree with that, and you'll certainly find people on the Supreme Court that will agree with that argument too,
goes to
allowing him to move the trial back behind the election. If he wins that election, and God forbid, let's hope he doesn't, but if he wins that election, he'll either pardon himself or he'll claim that he can't be held accountable because he's the president again.
Yeah. Well, which goes to your piece. You just wrote for The Nation this morning that he's got to be defeated at the ballot box, if nothing else, because unfortunately, I mean, the fact that we're trying to wrap our minds around, Elie, in 2023, that someone convicted of espionage and maybe sedition can maybe run and win the presidency again is just, I don't even know what to say about that.
It's ridiculous times that we live in, right? The only way that he would have been disqualified from running for president was basically to use the 14th Amendment and say that you can't run for president if you're basically a previous traitor to the country, right? That's the post-Civil War, Bobby Lee can't be governor of Virginia thing that they put into the 14th Amendment, right? Good call. But to get there, you have to have some kind of finding or conviction or ruling of treason or sedition. And again, those charges haven't even happened yet, much less happened, tried, convicted of such sedition or treason, which means that the 14th Amendment can't operate, which means that Trump gets to run again.
Does this indictment make you more hopeful that Jack Smith is going to also indict on January 6th? I mean, that's what the D.C. grand jury is still looking at, right?
I mean, look, Jack has shown himself to not be another Bob Mueller, right?
Yeah.
Jack has shown himself to be able to conduct a serious investigation and have it come to something, right? So I put it like this. It's not exactly that I have more confidence that Trump will be indicted on January 6th in a timely manner, but I have way more confidence that whatever happens will be, I think the way I'm going to put it is the best outcome legally that Jack Smith could offer, right?
Yeah.
So I think that Jack Smith will charge him with whatever he can charge him with, which might be nothing, but he'll charge him with whatever he can charge him with over January 6th eventually. But what we've also seen with this indictment and the timing of it is that Jack Smith doesn't seem to care about the political timeline very much. And that's fine. That's almost appropriate for a lawyer. But for the rest of us, regular, I just like my democracy.
But Fani well, she could get the mic drop, right? I mean, that's state charges. He can't get pardoned on Georgia state charges, right?
Right, but again, is she going to? Fani Willis already said that she previously said that she wasn't even going to charge him starting about September before the 2022 midterms, right? So if that's her precedent, and again, that's not necessarily a wrong precedent. If she's already created a kind of zone of safety for Republicans ahead of major federal elections, one can imagine that even if Fani Willis does charge Trump, this year sometime, let's say by Labor Day or just after, she won't try him in that, zone between the Republican National Convention, when he'll be probably nominated as their presidential candidate, and the federal election in November 2024. So I don't think Willis will pierce that veil either. Again, it sounds like I'm being like the sad trombone. It sounds like I'm being the turd in the trunk.
I hear this.
I don't want to be, right? But I'm just saying, like, if you just look at the timeline,
I know.
It's very hard to figure out how this gets done before July, and it's almost impossible to see how it gets done between July and November of next year.
Yeah. You tweeted, "Don't prosecute Trump for crimes because then we'll make up crimes to retributively prosecute Democrats for every pro-Trump argument on the right." And you said, and the dumbest thing about that argument is Republicans already do that, so their threat is that they'll never change. I mean, it's what they're doing now, right? They're doing it right now with Joe Biden.
People are all just like, oh, Hillary Clinton. Did people forget Whitewater? Did people forget how they were so interested in a land deal that Hillary Clinton did? They ended up in Bill Clinton's closet. Remember, people remember, or Monica Lewinsky's closet.
Right.
Do you remember how that worked? Like, Republicans are already willing to do whatever it takes to charge Democrats with whatever crime, real or not real, fair or unfair, that they can find.
Yeah.
And so them threatening to continue being Republicans is not a threat that I think anybody should be reasonably worried about. Of course, they will try to charge any Democratic president they would have charged Obama for wearing a tan suit if there was a law that they could have pinned it on, right? And so, I think Democratic candidates for office know that. Certainly, I think Joe Biden knows that. And I'll just say this.
Let's be honest. There was an aggravating circumstance of arugula and also some Grey Poupon. So it wasn't just the tan suit, Ellie.
And I'll just say this as well. If a Democratic president commits treason and espionage, I would like them to be prosecuted too.
Yes, that's the difference.
Just throw that out there. If you've got evidence that one of my guys that I voted for committed treason and espionage and was hiding national security documents in their shower, I'd want them to be prosecuted too.
Let's end on a happy note, because you will not steal my arraignment week joy, Elie Mystal. I choose to believe that justice is trending. Philip tweeted, FBI arrests Texas businessman at the center of alleged crimes that led to the impeachment of State Attorney General Ken Paxton. And you said, okay, my official theory is that Pat Robertson dying released such a concentration of evil that it blew back through the Hellgate, opened in 2016 when the Cubs won the World Series and closed it. Come on, Cracker Barrel going woke, Pat Robertson dying in Pride Month, Trump getting indicted. I mean, come on, Ellie. These are goals.
First of all, Pride Month, the LGBT community is just racking up wins, just like all across Pride Month. Right? Yeah. Like this has been the best Pride Month.
It's all like goal, goal.
Why have Pride all year round?
So I feel we should try to extend it to July just to see what happens. So I'm very happy about that. Look, I think you said it right. Justice is trending up. I think that is correct. I feel like there have been lots of things that have been simmering in the fire for a long time, and they're finally getting baked. Like the cake is ready to come out of the oven finally. And I think that is good, and I think that is exciting.
Yeah.
Are we going to get to eat the cake before November? That's my concern.
Someone left your Justice cake out in the rain. Is that what you're saying, Elie Mystal?
Yeah, someone left it on the windowsill.
Yeah.
The dog game, and like there's lots of things going on. I just want my cake, and I want it now.
Listen.
I want the cake now.
Anytime we get to talk to Elie Mystal is a good week.
Yes.
We love you, Elie Mystal. We've linked to all your fantastic stuff at The Nation, and we will see you dancing on TV soon.
Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Yeah,
You
you
too.
too.
Thanks,
honey.
Ellie.
There he goes. 50 minutes after the hour, this portion of the show. Brought to you not just by CB Distill. Hi, Dana. Hi.
Good morning, everyone. I missed you. I'm using a new camera that apparently has an autofocus, and I'm trying not to move for those watching on Free Speech because I
Yeah.
feel like you would think you're on drugs because
Yeah.
I feel like I'm on drugs.